Um, I grew up in a very Christian household. Um, and it wasn't all negative. It wasn't. Like I have really good memories of going to church. I have really good memories of having a relationship with God. And I'm not saying any of this to turn off my friends who are not Christian or who feel the way they feel, or even my friends who consider themselves Christian and disagree with my interpretation of it. For example, politically, we may not be aligned. That's a whole other enchilada. But I was raised in a very Christian household. We went to church every Sunday, and I was raised to believe that a relationship with God and Jesus should be personal. It should be like the relationship you have with a parent, the way that you speak to them and like a friend. So having that in my head as a kid, I remember I used to lay awake after my parents put me to bed, and I wouldn't sit on my knees with my hands folded and all pious. I would lay in my bed and I would just talk to God like he was in the room, like he was my friend, and I would sometimes just talk to him about my day, and then sometimes I would cry, or sometimes I would ask for help, or many different things. And that changed as I got older. And the big change was in high school. I had promised myself that I would save myself for marriage, and that was kind of prompted from my grandparents and just like other people, where they made it such a big deal to promise not to have sex before marriage. And so high school rolls around and I had sex before marriage, and I cried. I cried in the bathroom after I did it. And even though I didn't necessarily regret the act or the person or how I felt about the person, or that I felt like it was pure, I had so much shame that I had made a promise to God, and I couldn't keep it. I made one promise and I couldn't keep it. And that in my head was so hard to wrestle with. So from that point forward, I feel like my relationship with God was kind of jilted. And I don't necessarily blame religion or God. I more blame, I think, my own feelings of worth. And aside from that, there were traumatic things that happened. Like I viewed some family members and people that were in my life as hypocrites. The way that they would act super pious and super religious, and then on the other hand be cruel and mean, and not anything of the Christian or the Jesus follower that I was being raised to believe we were supposed to be. And these were people that I trusted and I was getting my information from. And so I was seeing them say one thing and do another, and it was just very hard to be okay with that. And I feel that way today. There's a reason that politically I am where I am, and I still consider myself a Christian. And it is not my place to judge other people's journey and relationship with God. Like, if you're Trumper and a MAGA and you claim to be Christian, that is none of my business. Like, I might personally have feelings about that and disagree with it, but at the end of the day, your relationship with God is yours. It's not mine. So that goes into saying, I have tried in my adult life since that moment to have a relationship with God. And it's been kind of like, I'll go to church, I'll take my kids to church, I will go at Christmas, I'll go at Easter, I will sporadically go during the year. And every time I get something from the message. That is one thing. Like my husband doesn't go to church, and he has his reasons as well. His relationship with God is his. But one of the things that I personally like about church is perspective. So things that I don't like about church, I feel judgment from others, not necessarily from God or the pastor or anything like that, but I have a hard time feeling connection to the community, right? And believing that it's authentic because of my upbringing, and the people that I knew behind closed doors were not behaving the way that they were telling you that you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like hypocrites. It was hypocrites that turned me off. So going into a church, that is my battle, is ignoring my feelings about, are they judging me for being here? Am I not what they think a Christian should be? Are they hypocrites? It is constant. And I have to literally go, that is not why I'm here. I don't know what their relationship with God is. Who they are and how they treat others is on them. I'm here to reset. I'm here to gain knowledge or perspective, and I'm here to work on my relationship with God. So that is one aspect of it. And I feel like others might be able to relate to that, whether you're against religion because you don't like the fact that there's hypocrites or that feeling. I'm there. I get it. So I've struggled. I've definitely struggled, and it's hard. I have 5 kids and nobody wants to go. My 5-year-old or almost 5-year-old struggles. And if you know our family and our situation, you understand what I mean by he struggles. In every facet, whether it's daycare, school, church, like he struggles. And so that is also something that makes it hard to want to go, because I don't want to have to deal with that when I'm trying to work on me. And so it's it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But I've been going the last 4 weeks, and one of the reasons also is Hudson. So about 6 months ago, Hudson asked if he could get a crucifix necklace out of nowhere. Like, we haven't been going to church regularly, and we haven't really talked about it a lot. And at that point, we were dealing with a lot. And so, like, we haven't really had deep conversations about religion or God or anything like that. And he just asked if I could help him get a crucifix and a Bible. And I was like, okay. Yeah, because he wasn't raised the way I was raised. He doesn't go to church regularly. We don't pray over our dinner. I wouldn't say like we're completely anti-religion, but like it's not the focus of our family, which is sad, but you know what I mean? So like I was very surprised that my very funny, sarcastic, kind of inappropriate, humored, almost 14-year-old wanted a Bible and a crucifix. I was like, okay, like, yeah. And so when I picked him up from school that day, because he said it in the car when everybody got out, because he's the last one I drop off, I picked him up and I go, hey, so no judgment, just curious, like, why why you want those things. And he said something along the lines of he had been recently thinking about where he stood on all of it, like where he stands on God and Jesus and religion and heaven and all of those things, and where he stood. I don't know what prompted it, but he was wrestling with those thoughts, and his decision was that he does believe in God and he does want a relationship with Jesus and he wants to learn more about it. And what better way to do that than through a Bible? Blown away. And I was like, okay. I was like, do you want to go to a youth group? And he was like, he's like, I feel like youth group is just an excuse for kids to mess around. Like, it's an extra time to like mess around with kids. He's like, I actually want to learn about God, and I feel like I'm not going to get that in a youth group. What? Okay. And so for the last couple of weeks, we were like, okay, we're going to check out a couple different churches and see what vibe we like which church is the one for us, right? So the first time it was just me and him. And it's a smaller church. It's right down the street from our house. And come to find, Hudson's not big on the music worship aspect of it, but he likes the message. Okay. Hudson's very internal. He's very like, he'll talk to you, but like you're not getting, he's a deep thinker, and you're not getting everything that he's thinking. Like he's keeping some of it for him, which I love that about him. Also super frustrating as me and as a parent and my personality, because I'm like, I want to know what you're thinking, and I want to know how you feel. And I've just accepted that I will not ever know 100% how he is feeling, which is, it's fine. I'm working on it. So he didn't go with me yesterday because he was out of town with his friends. But like, we've been going every Sunday. And he liked the bigger church we went to. He liked the vibe. I think it felt a little less awkward for him. So yeah, so we've been going. And through this, I am trying to get back to that place where I can talk to God like a friend, like a person, because that's what a relationship is. If you can't talk to somebody and you are afraid to talk to them, like really talk to them, what's the point? So I used to do this thing as a kid where when I was really struggling or had a question, I would just sit with my Bible and I would open it at random and be like, God, tell me what you want me to hear. Like, because I have no idea what to even look for. I don't know how to hear your voice. I don't know what that even sounds like. Like, people talk about it like it is easy to understand and easy to hear. And I was like, I've never felt that way. I've never felt like I've talked to God with a pure heart, and I felt listened to, but I don't always understand the response or hear the response. And so it's weird because I don't necessarily feel ignored, because I feel like in retrospect, I can look back at my life and see moments and see how things worked to the good. But in the moment, I was just like, okay, God, like, tell me what I'm supposed to be doing here. So this morning I decided that I was going to do that. I was going to open my Bible at random and see what God wanted me to hear. And I prayed beforehand, and I'm not a huge prayer. I said, please let me be open to this. Let me hear it and understand it, and whatever it is. And background on that, before I tell you what I open to, we are financially rough. Yeah, like to the point where I get messages in my email of where our electric bill is, and I get nervous because we haven't even hit the coldest months yet. And our electric bill just skyrockets once January, February roll around. And so I have a lot of anxiety and fear around, and like also with food, and you know, like we actually do receive SNAP. We do. Chris works full-time. He works above minimum wage. I don't work full-time anymore because of Bodhi and issues and therapy and all the things that make it impossible to have a regular 9 to 5. Like, I can't work full-time. So financially we took a hit there, and we were only qualifying for like $300, but that $300 makes a huge difference, especially with how expensive groceries are. And so luckily I also have been receiving WIC, and I have been kind of like stashing some of it because we don't necessarily go through all of it, because if you don't know what WIC is, it's for women and children for under the age of 5, and it's supplements. Like, so it's not, they don't give you money. You get specific things, specific ounces and amounts and brands. And so what's great about WIC is they cover formula, which thank the Lord, because Kip, Nico, and Bodhi were all on very specific formulas because of allergies, and they were also preemies. And if you don't know how much formula is, it is $50. Some of it's $30, but if you have children like mine who are premature and autoimmune and allergies and can't have freaking lactose and all the things, $50. And a thing of formula lasts maybe 2 weeks, maybe, depending on how old your baby is. So formula, baby food, it covers fruit and veggies, it covers whole grains, so you can get like 2 loaves of bread, or you can get whole wheat pasta, or you can get whole wheat tortillas. It covers, so I don't eat what's it called, beans. They hurt my stomach. They don't do a whole lot for me, but it covers peanut butter. So we have a crap ton of peanut butter, right? It covers like healthier cereals, like not the Honey Nut Cheerios, but like the plain Cheerios, and it covers like Life and like the basic cereals. And I'm trying to think of what else. Milk and cheese. So it like covers like milk, cheese, eggs, things like that. Staples, right? And milk has been a godsend. But there's certain things that I've kind of stocked up in our pantry that we don't eat a ton of, like peanut butter, like cereal. I'm just like, holy crap, I wish that we got more towards produce or more like protein and things like that, but still grateful, right? And my husband and kids all were just like, we don't need any more cereal or peanut butter. And I was like, look, it disappears if I don't get it. And it is shelf stable. So if the world comes to an end, we can eat freaking peanut butter out of the jar and we'll be okay. So I've been stashing it. Thank goodness, right? I've been putting bread in the freezer just in case. That to be said, I have not visited a food pantry because we have those things. And I know that there are people who don't have those things. There are people, especially in Montana, where we live, who live in campers and RVs with as many children as we have. And they're spending the little money that they have on propane to keep them heated. I know this personally because I've worked in the school, and I know, like, I just know. I know that there's little kids who are all curled up in one bed to stay warm. And sometimes the only food that they get is at school. There's a program here called, it's like Backpacks for Kids. And they send them home, they send these bags of food home with kids, and it's usually things that are easy that the kids can make without help. For kids who have parents who are not helpful, or say they don't have all the means to make things, like Easy Mac, granola bars. They put like Topper Ramen, like things that you can make with just hot water, right? So I know, having the knowledge that there are absolutely people having a harder time with food security than I am, I'm not willing to visit a food bank until it gets to that point. Because I know with SNAP being cut off, there are families who absolutely have nothing. And these kids, like, there's parents probably going without so their kids can eat at night. And so I know that the food banks are overwhelmed right now. And I don't want to be part of that. And I don't want to take something if I know that we are okay. And we are okay. Like, we took a decent chunk of Chris's paycheck and went and got ground beef and chicken and things like that and stuck it in the freezer so we would have stuff. And we make soups. Like, it's fine. Like, we'll be fine. But all of that to be said, between heat and food and politics and financially being not where I'd like to be, I have a lot of anxiety. I have a lot of fear. I have a lot of, my main concern is my kids and making sure that they are taken care of. So when I open my Bible at random, this is what I landed on. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand, she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gates. Proverbs 31, 18 to 31. Okay. There's a lot of stuff in there that I'm like, city gates, staffs, things like that, like, does that apply to me? So I sat with it and I was like, okay, so basically, break it down. They're basically saying that this woman is a shrewd businesswoman and she works super tirelessly and diligently. She's like working into the night. She's making things. She has compassion and generosity towards the poor. Her household is well prepared and ready for any season. She provides for her family's needs. She's self-sufficient. She provides stability. She speaks with wisdom and kindness. She's not lazy. And her reverence for God is what makes her truly valuable. So, like, I feel like God is telling me that you're doing good. Like you're trying to be prepared, you're being diligent, you're being a steward of your resources, and you're using them wisely to provide for your family and help others. I try to lead my life with integrity and compassion. And that, I think the thing I'm working on right now is earthly success is linked to spiritual devotion. And I'm working on it. I am. But it was just weird because I am feeling so insecure about my household and my house being warm and my house having enough food, and almost to a ridiculous degree, because we are okay. I want to make that clear. We are okay. I almost annoy my family with how much I'm like, we need staples. We need to make sure that we have like broth and like things that go a long way. I have 5 children, so meals that go a long way are important. But I do feel like he spoke directly to me, and I don't know if it was to be like, hey, you're fine, keep doing what you're doing, or if it was more like, maybe you could be more generous to the poor, maybe go help, or maybe go do something. Don't be idle. So I mean, maybe it's both. I don't know. The only reason I'm sharing this, because I was thinking about it, I was like, this is kind of personal. This is kind of like, I don't know if I want everyone to know my business. I know that I'm not alone in the way that I'm feeling, the things that I'm dealing with, whether it's spiritually, financially, kids, politics, whatever. I know I'm not alone. And I feel like if social media is going to be used for anything, it should be used to give hope. It should be used to give people information. It should be used to give people the knowledge that they are not alone. Why make the world smaller and more connected if not to make people feel not alone? I hope that this reaches somebody that it can help. And if you have any ideas on how I can be a better steward or help others, let me know.